Awesome. All right, cool. I just want to get started because I only have 10 minutes. So, the internet is bifurcating. I'm sure many of you can agree that there's two classes of users that exist these days. There are humans, which have grown up with the internet and created it, and in the last year or so, agents have come abound. And the way this looks in my mind, and obviously I used AI to create this and all the graphics here. The way this looks in my mind is we have these walled gardens, these cities that humans can congregate in. They are for social media, for creating, curating, consuming content, or finance, buying products, or work apps where they're just building or communicating for work-related purposes. And then in the last 3 years, with the advent of LLMs and the companies that are building them, we have these robots that are running around just siphoning data either in a permissive manner where they have deals with companies like Reddit, and they take all the data that's in there, or they're like barbarians at the gate, like breaking down the city walls or these walled gardens, getting all the data that they want without asking for permission. So this presents a very interesting golden opportunity that kind of hit me on the head in the last 6 months because of the advent of the XRPL-EVM, which I'll just refer as the EVM moving forward. So with the EVM, the XRP token, or the XRP asset, is no longer on an island of its own. It has grown to become programmable and composable. And this is important. Because it is built the way it is, with built on top of Cosmos SDK, built using Ethermint and giving it EVM compatibility, making it a sidechain, it has access to Ethereum's entire development community and all their tooling, which is the largest community in the Web3 space. It has multi-chain portability coming soon with the Axelar integration, allowing XRP not to just be its own L2 or sidechain on top of Ethereum, but to go to all of the other chains in the Cosmos and Ethereum ecosystems. And most importantly, it now has other use cases besides being a CBP. It can be a gas token. It can be used to interact with smart contracts. It can be part of DeFi composability, liquidity, and DeFi Legos. And most importantly, it can be part of automation, which is what we're going to talk about. So there is a new economy coming up called the agent economy. And in the agent economy, you have to think about who these agents are, these things that have appeared out of nowhere in the last year that run automated tasks all over the internet. They are online native. They're internet native. They are multi-chain by default because most of what they're doing these days are yield farming or just looking for as much arbitrage opportunities as possible. So they need composable logic and the ability to hop around from chain to chain to do a good enough job. And they need access to deep liquidity very quickly. EVMs give you that. XRP is a very deeply liquid asset. I mean, just look at its market cap. And then most importantly, this is what makes XRP very unique in this situation, is that it's institutionally compliant. So if you're trying to bring in Web 2 eventually into the agentic world in the next 5 to 10 years, you need something that has stood the test of time. It's beaten legal showdowns, which this has in a very horrific US environment over the last half decade. And so XRP is probably the only asset that fills all these gaps. I would say the only other one that I can think of is Tether, but that is going to spread dollar hegemony, where XRP is more of a neutral asset. So this is great and all, and looking at this image, you have a great product, you have a great vision, but you need to have good and sound infrastructure. Just like when you're building your company, you're not going to rebuild internet chat or email. You're going to defer that out or delegate that out to Google or Outlook or some other product. So when you're building this vision for agents, you're going to need to have sound infrastructure. So in this, again, AI-generated image, you have a road, which is Ethereum. These are the rails. You have a sidechain, which is this car, the XRPL-EVM. And you have two personified agents chatting with each other, but they might hit a speed bump or a pothole, and they might break apart. And in this case, you have unsound infrastructure. The analogy here is if you don't have always-on infrastructure, if you have high latency or low availability, basically the opposite of everything I've written here, or censorship resistance, you are not going to be able to build tooling for the new internet or for the agentic use case. You need permissionless APIs, you need always-on infrastructure, you need to be low latent, highly reliable. So I know a thing or two about this because over the last 5 years, I've been running a company called Grove, which is a team, it's a labs team, that built its own blockchain called Pocket Network, which is an API layer for blockchain access and for LLM inferencing. It had used through incentives, through its own token called Pocket, it's created the ability to coordinate access to, for applications to be permissionlessly coordinated to decentralized infrastructure. So we have a token that incentivizes infrastructure engineers to stand up XRPL nodes, EVM nodes, Solana, Base, what have you, all over the world on bare metal servers, and we have built tooling to access that in a sovereign manner without having to use Grove directly. You just directly go and get decentralized inference, decentralized blockchain access. So this is what I've been doing. In this analogy, it's like patching all the potholes using our software. AI is phenomenal. When this image came out, I was floored. So moving on, I'm not just like talking about something pie in the sky. I'm actually like living this world right now. So Grove, we've partnered with the XRPL team, Ripple, whatever you want to call the entity right now, to support the XRPL-EVM. We were the first provider to launch nodes, RPC nodes, API nodes, for the DevNet, the testnet, and soon to be the mainnet. We, as Grove, the entity, launched the first public endpoint. We've built our tooling, like I said, called Path, that has enabled other API gateways to provide access to the XRPL-EVM out the gate for the last 6 months. And on top of that, Grove is on the proof of authority, a group of 35, 36 validators that contribute to the EVM. So we are like really deeply involved with the XRP, and we're very bullish on it. And that's where this thesis kind of comes from. So as I said, the way this would work, the world that I'm thinking is coming, is this whole permissionless infrastructure that we've built out. We originally built it for humans, but when agents started becoming a thing last year and kind of going into the zeitgeist, I realized very quickly that we've actually been building tooling for 5 to 7 years for agents. These are our actual use case. And a thesis I have is that XRP could be that major asset that is used because of all the reasons I mentioned earlier. So how would it work? You have Pocket Network that coordinates all the access. You have a server that's running this path access layer that allows an agent to permissionlessly access all the blockchains that are supported by Pocket. We support 60, including the EVM. It also has access to open source LLM, so you can continuously infer your next task as you want to. And all of this is coordinated and paid for by one token, the Pocket token. So this matters for agents because agents have multiple ways of functioning. There's coordinator agents that spawn new agents that will all need access. If you want to do this permissionlessly without asking for someone, you load up an agent, give it access to wallet, give it the tokens that you need, XRP for transactions, Pocket for permissionless access to APIs, and you let it go ham. You just let it go create what you need. You don't need any UIs. You just need it to be able to route value. You just need APIs and permissionless endpoints for this to actually work. So we, as Grove, we're building the access layer for the Internet of Agents. And Pocket itself is providing the decentralization through incentivization, which is a missing piece in Ripple, as we all know, but this is the reason we've become partners with Ripple, is because we found a way to incentivize permissionless infrastructure. So the TLDR here is the XRPL-EVM has made XRP programmable and composable. Pocket has made it permissionlessly accessible. And Grove is building this entire infrastructure to enable the XRPL-EVM to scale and be decentralized. And the TLDR of the TLDR is there are two orthogonal tokens here. One that provides you universal CBP payment, universal cross-border payments. It's a cross-border payment token. They can be used by agents and humans, obviously. Pocket is orthogonal in the sense that it just provides you censorship-resistant access to LLMs and blockchains. And these two can work together to to provide you completely to assist in agentic use cases. And so I'm here to evangelize all of this because my goal working with XRPL and Ripple is to help scale and decentralize the XRPL. That's literally the partnership that we've created. So all of this exists. None of this is like in my head. This is all live. Pocket exists for 5-7 years. It's processed over a trillion requests over its lifetime. We have built, we support XRPL-EVM. We have built Path, a toolkit to access Pocket in a sovereign manner. And we also support permissionless node runners to run operations on the network. So everything here is permissionless from A to B, from A to Z. So again, we're trying to build this internet. We believe a good chunk of it is going to be built on Pocket because we've seen that over the last 7 years. And so we're here to evangelize this so we can all build this new internet together. Thank you.